Welcome to the 2014 Dram Awards. Now, my intro this evening is going to be short and sweet. So, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for coming this evening. And I would also like to thank our sponsors for supporting this event year after year. We're now in our 19th year, and next year's our 20th. Hard to believe, and the trade has changed immensely over these years. But what it has done is improve. And I am really proud to be part of the Scottish licensed trade, and I think you guys all should be proud too. Our sponsors this evening are Benromach, the BII, Caledonia Best, Desperados, Diageo, Koppenberg, Kraken, Mixit, Molson Coors, the Sunday Mail Centenary Fund, and Tennant. Thank you very much, guys. Anyway, I'd like to pass you over to Rob Deering tonight, and I'd like to say I hope you have an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Dram Awards 2014 Top of the Pubs. Welcome. First of all, I would like to welcome onto the stage Cheryl Cook, who's going to help me with the awards. Cheryl, there she is. Give her a big round of applause. All the way across the room. Cheryl Cook, as you can see, has come as Miss Havisham. No, Madonna in Like a Virgin era Madonna. You look fantastic, Cheryl. Do you feel good? Yes, okay, we were going to leave it as a subtext, but that man's prepared to shout out that you look sexy, so well done. Once again for Cheryl Cook! Now on to the awards ceremony. Now for the past few weeks, our judges have been scouring the country looking for the very best the licensed trade has to offer in Scotland. Pubs, clubs, restaurants and more have been in the spotlight, but our first award is for the DRM Lifetime Achievement Award. Woo indeed, we're going to need those woos. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome back Susan Young, publisher and editor of the Dram Plus.
Now, it's become a bit of a Dram tradition to do the Lifetime Achievement Award at the very start of the awards and not at the end. Mainly this is because it's quite difficult keeping the friends a surprise from the recipient. Now, this recipient is going to know that he's the recipient in about 5 seconds of me starting my speech, and probably you guys all will too. However, that will give him time to compose himself. Now, when I decided to have my theme as Top of the Pops, I didn't realise that this actually had a kind of memorable meaning for this recipient. Apparently, around about when he was about 17 years old and he was in a dating game, it was the norm amongst him and his friends to only date somebody for 2 weeks. So he found this lovely lady, dated her for 2 weeks, and then didn't see her again. However, every night for the next year, he called her on a Thursday night right after Top of the Pops. However, this was a very long-suffering fiancée as she became, because not only did he forgo dating her for a year, he actually postponed their engagement because he used the money they'd saved for the engagement ring to go and see his favourite team who had qualified for the European Cup Winners' Cup. Yes, his first love may be his family, but his second love is his team. And therefore, I'd like to invite Walter Smith onto the stage to help me present this award. Now, this young gentleman started life as a joiner. Before realising that actually he would like to go into the sales field. His parents ran a golf club, but they were stewards, and he knew a few drinks contacts. And his first job was at Dryburgh's as a trainee sales executive. He really found his calling when he entered the sales business, because he is one of the best sales guys I have ever come across, and I'm sure a lot of his bosses would say exactly the same. He spent time at Dryburgh's before moving to Scottish Brewers, and his first big boss there was Peter Davidson, and I'm delighted to say that Peter's here tonight. Now, he actually, as a young sales trainee, aspired to Peter's job. And although his first job was in Glasgow, and he moved his family to Ayr, he then got a job in Aberdeen and commuted for the next couple of years. Another one of his bosses was Bill Lamb, who worked in investments at Scottish in Newcastle. And he learned a lot from him. And no doubt the information that he learned then has stood him in good stead throughout the rest of his career. He eventually became Director of Sales North for SNN, but the job that he aspired to became available a few years later when he became Director of Sales for the West. Yes, that was Peter Davidson's old job, so within a few years he'd come right up the ladder and had become Director of Sales for the West of Scotland. A few management changes occurred and he left and he set up his own consultancy. Before Stephen Russell came along and offered him a job in Variety, or Morton's as it was then called, it's now in Variety, Morton's. And as his wife said, he really loved going back into sales because he was a people's person. And he spent a good few years there before another Stephen came along and offered him what he himself has told me was the best way to finish his career. Because John went to work for Tennants. I've given it away there, haven't I? Maybe. He went to work for Tennants and he became, within a short time, managing director. He announced earlier this year that he was retiring. But Mr. John Gilligan, this is what a few of your friends have to say about you.
First time I met John was at Scottish Brewers in '96. I'd just been appointed as finance director, and John was the sales director, and I was going through my first loan review with him, and I'd gone through all the documentation. I'd seen a loan of 250,000 for a pub in Glasgow in the West End, and the money had been out for 2 years, which is quite a long time, but the pub hadn't opened. So I said to John, look, we need to do something about this. We need to recall the money, get the money back. And he just looked at me and said, well, you can do that, you can talk to the customer. I said, I will. I said, who's the customer? He said, Colin Beattie. So we left the money with him.
I've been asked to here tonight to congratulate John in winning this very prestigious award. I got to know John over 30 years ago when he first walked into one of the pubs, and I believe we hit it off right away. People have asked me over the last almost 30 years what makes John Gilligan special. I think John's got a natural ability to glad hand people, make them feel at ease. In fact, I'd go as far as to say he's a world champion glad hander, and that is the essence of a salesman. But it goes much further than that. John has, like many in the industry, have turned into personal friends, and specifically with John, I class John as one of my best friends. There is no doubt about that. He's gave me great advice over the years, and I'm not surprised that his time at Scottish Brewers was a success, but thereafter William Morton's, Stephen Russell and the whole team there, I know wished them well, and whilst they were sorry to leave him, they knew fine well that the promotion into Tennants was of higher value for everybody. I'm so happy that John has made such a success in his career. Well done, John.
Hi everyone, apologies for not being with you tonight. Susan's already given me a row on that particular subject. One of the interesting things about our industry is, despite the fact it's incredibly competitive, it's also very small and we all tend to know each other. And I'm really delighted that tonight's winner is somebody that I know really personally over all of my career and would value him just as a pal. I've listened to his advice generally, apart from when he talks about football. He's devoted his entire career to this industry. He's a real people person. I think tonight's award is richly deserved. So John, please, from me and everyone at Heineken, have a great night. Thank you.
We always knew where you stood with John. He was very clear cut, but always a great sense of humour. Absolutely wore his heart on his shirt in terms of his support for Rangers. I do remember when one of his daughters went to France on a university exchange programme, and I had young kids at the time, and he borrowed my Mercedes, and because it was an estate, he took it to France, and I'd left some children's music in the car, which he found a bit offensive, and he returned the car with Rangers CD, which he had on full blast when I picked up from the garage. So he was always quite clear not the team that he supported. In terms of John at Tennent's, we met for a coffee in Shawlands about 3 years ago. He was at Morton's at the time. I was looking to pick his brain on how to wholesale and transform our business, which we just acquired, make it much more customer focused, and get the sales force on the front foot and get away from the traditions of Tennent's, which is one of maybe been slightly arrogant. And after about 20 minutes, I just thought, this is a great end to John's career. So we offered him a job. I think it was there and then, which he accepted, and I think it's just been a brilliant end to a fantastic career. John is the kind of epitome of all that's right about the Scottish trade. He's passionate about the industry. He's hugely committed to the charities involved with the industry, and he knows everybody. And to get 2 or 3 years at Tennent's at the end of his career, to make some money and actually turn this business around, because since John's we came under John's management, I think he's doubled the profits of Tennent's, and that's a phenomenal performance. So a great ending to his career, and we love him and we'll miss him dearly.
Now I'd like Walter Smith to say a few words.
Strange environment for me, a drink environment. I met John Gilligan through drink. For years and years, John sold drink, still sells drink, does not buy it. Any of his friends will tell you that. You know, he's gone on from there, which is, I suppose, why he's been such a success with the companies that he has done. John and I share an unfortunate circumstance. We're both Rangers supporters. It's been a difficult circumstance for them all. I think, you know, Margaret, his wife, will testify to the fact that John does not take defeat easily. Any old firm defeat would cause a major problem in the Gilligan family, with John under the bed for the rest of the evening after an old firm defeat. Fortunately, we've not taken that many. Well, maybe no. We'll maybe taking a few. But I've known John for a few years. His passions are great. His family aside, his business, his golf, his football are things that he's passionate about. And, you know, I admire him for that. And an evening like this evening, where we have a circumstance where it's a musically based evening, my missus is a Barry Manilow fan, and despite his love of Botox, he wrote a song called Through the Rain, which, in the words of it, he said, you make it through the rain and you find yourself respected by the others who get rained on too. John Gilligan has made it through the rain in his business, and there's absolutely no doubt that he's found himself respected by everyone that knows him. So if he would step forward and receive this award, I'd be delighted.
I would like to invite John and his family to join us on the stage.
wouldn't get upset if anything like that's ever happened, but that's quite difficult. But a couple of people, very difficult to mention them all. Very quickly, Drybridge, Mr. Bobby Taylor's out there somewhere. One of my first colleagues. You there, Robert? Good on you, Bobby. Bobby and I worked in a sales team. It was the maddest guys in the world. But Bobby Taylor was a sensible guy, so you'll get the impression. And this is the first time we'd ever seen fuel cards. You know, they didn't give us credit cards, and they gave us a thing called a fuel card. When we went to the garage, Bobby will tell you that, and you get your fuel, and that paid for itself. You signed this wee form. The big machine used to rattle the thing. Anyway, the guy said, "That's your fuel, John." I said, "Give me a Mars bar and a can of Coke and a paper. And you want me to put that in the..." "Oh, aye, on you go, on you go." But of course, unknown to me, after 4 weeks of charging the company for Mars bars and Diet Coke, another 15 salesmen did exactly the same thing. And when the fuel bill came in, Campbell Forsyth was the gaffer, and he sat us all down, and we were under a bit of pressure. And Campbell says, "Right, who bought the barbecue?" And that wasn't Bobby, that was Bob Smith. But Drybridge was wonderful. Then I went to work for SNN, and I see a table. I now realise the people are here. Peter Davidson. I was recruited by Bob Wilson. I don't know if he's here, but Bob Wilson recruited me. Fantastic manager. Peter Davidson gave me my big break. Worked for Alistair. I see Bill Hughes over there, ex-MD of Bellhaven. A mechanic, am I right, Bill? So he's a mechanic and a joiner getting to MD. Life can't be too bad. But my family here, I've got to mention Mortimer. He's over there. If I don't mention him, that'll be the end of the world. Mortimer, where is he? Colin's my pal. James is my pal. See Colin Blair there. We played 5-a-side together. I mean, people in my life have opened doors for me, and I've managed to walk through. But when the door opens up, you've got to go through there and deliver. And James has opened up so many doors for me. I thank him for that. And I nearly forgot my wee pal that opened up all the doors for me in Ayrshire, McSherry, who I now realise why he's here. McSherry opened up loads of doors for me. Incredible wee guy, brilliant character. Life's about enthusiasm, it's about winning, but it's about enjoying your victories. Clancy keeps talking about me retiring. I'm going to a 3-day week, just in case you've forgotten. On full salary. And by the way, every time he comes up with an idea, he says, "You can do that when you're doing a 3-day week. You can do that when you're doing a 3-day week." I say, "Fuck me, I'll be doing a 7-day week at the end of this." But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a late night. My family are all here. I'm not going to get emotional and start mentioning them. This wee guy's representing the world. So I thank Susan a million. I thank everybody a million. I hope I have forgotten people, but, you know, Brian Calder's taken over. I'd like to give Brian a mention. I apologise. We're working side by side now, and we're sorting out the company integration and all that, and he's a great colleague, and Big Matt's taken over as well. JY's over there somewhere. A couple of quick things. Walter said to me years ago, "You've just got to pick your team, John." That's the bottom line. Alec Ferguson says, "The best managers, it's dead simple, make a decision." Bill Shankly said, "It's easy to be a great manager, just pick great players." And that's it. I've been lucky. I've had great bosses, and I've had great people running about me. Thanks a million. Thank you. Hey.